Hear ye, gather round for another edition of Young Kings Wrestling, featuring the JDF Memorial Sovereign Soundboard. As always, you can find us on most platforms streaming your favorite podcast episodes, including Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. Little early on it. Little jump the gun.
Yeah, a little bit.
You can listen on iTunes, leave us a review of the 5-star kind. There we go. Links to all the platforms and the merchandise available at ykWrestling.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you have not, as we need more YouTube subscribers. We do. Sure. We can always use more. But welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Knock If You Buckingham Palace. I am the thespian TC Fontaine, joined by King. Damn, one of these days. I'm gonna write this down. King Reek. House of Havoc. First of his name.
Yes, sir.
I got it. There we go.
Yes, sir.
Back with another one. Welcome back. We are here. And listen, we are going to switch it up a little bit here because as you know, we watch wrestling all week long, and recently we both watched, why am I still talking like this? We both watched WrestleMania 20. WrestleMania 20 live from Madison Square Garden. And it was March 14th, 2004. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was sitting in Hooters. I went to Hooters and watched them. I was like 11 years old.
Damn, all right.
They used to have these things back in the day called blast areas, as WWE used to call them. And it was the places you could watch their pay-per-views for free. Little, pay-per-view watch parties. And they used to have a whole list on the WWE website. And the only ones in my city were at Hooters. It was like only one. So we used to go show up at Hooters like an hour and a half before the show, get a table. And I think you had to, there was no cover charge, but you had to order something. So order some fries, some wings. And as an 11-year-old, just had to look straight up at the TV because you didn't want to make it awkward. But we live from MSG here. And this was a fun show, man. So I said, we got to switch it up a little bit and recap it. This is the inaugural WrestleMania took place at Madison Square Garden back in 1985. And then in 10 years later, WrestleMania 10, that was a famous Bret Hart and Owen Hart had they main event.
Oh, the opener.
Yeah. Oh, it was the opener. And then Bret Hart was who did Bret Hart face in the main event?
Yoko.
Okay. Was that when Terry came out? That was a year before.
Yeah. This was the night that so Bret and Luger
had the ladder match.
Bret and Luger technically both won the Rumble, so they both got title shots. So Luger went first, Bret had his match with Owen, and then Bret had the main event match with Yoko. Whoever won, and Yoko retained that night.
That is before complicated shit, Vince McMahon. But it is what it is. Of course, we got the Shawn Michaels and Razor ladder match.
Oh, yeah.
Really the only things I remember from that show.
It's the only thing that mattered.
It was. But we here for WrestleMania 20, where it all begins again. That was the tagline. And this was actually my first time watching this in full in about 10 years. Because I'd always turn it off before the main event, or I'll just skip through and I'll watch the things I want to watch. Because there was only a few matches I really cared about rewatching a lot of the time. So I remember back then it was a big deal because it's 20th WrestleMania, it's the anniversary where it all begins again. It's at Madison Square Garden. This was famous for having like The Rock's last match for a very long time. This was the precursor to Randy Orton's breakout moment, which was huge. And then this was also very famous for a moment that nobody will really care to acknowledge 3 years later. And we'll get to talking about that. We'll get to talking about all of that. But what was your biggest takeaway from this show at the time?
Oh, at that time, Um, I mean, really, it was just a lot of that. First off, it was that takeoff point for John Cena because he opened the show and with Big Show, and that was like he was just still in at the early stages of coming up on the mid card and
Yeah.
getting ready to blast through and before the year is over. But you had that Undertaker coming back.
Yeah.
The American Badass gimmick is dead and buried, literally, and we got Paul Bearer with the urn, so we were getting back to basics in a good way. Brock Lesnar Goldberg, which I know what the real problem is with that. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that because I know what the real problem is there. But yeah, outside of that was just the main event was better than I remember it being, honestly.
Yeah, I always like the main event, and it's just I can't watch it the same way anymore for obvious reasons. But I mean, it don't take away from how good the match is, and I don't want to take away from the work that Shawn Michaels and Triple H put into this. But we'll talk about all that here. But this, like I was saying, I remember this was a big deal for everybody back at the time. I used to draw the WrestleMania 20 logo all the time, like before this. I used to, kids used to just be doodlers back then. So like
all the time,
all my friends could draw, and I knew I couldn't draw a lick. So I used to just attempt to just draw, just to be like, I'm gonna start drawing shit. So I used to draw the WrestleMania logo all the time. Around the time Taker was coming back, so I used to draw the Undertaker logo, like the cross with the X's in them. I used to draw that shit all the time. So I used to just draw a bunch of wrestling adjacent stuff back then. Wasn't great. It wasn't good, but I got to experience the road to WrestleMania in person this year. I always talk about that, and I will talk more about that here. But I also got to experience the WrestleMania Revenge. They had a house show in my city like a month later after WrestleMania.
Okay.
So I got to see John Cena as U.S. champ, Eddie Guerrero as a WWE champ, Kurt Angle, JBL, all that stuff. It was fun. It was a fun time.
What's up?
More on that. But let's get to talking about this show, man. It was a long ass show. It was 4.5 hours, something like that, which is one of the longest WrestleManias at the time. Because usually it'll have WrestleManias will just be close to like 4 hours, but not over that. So this is the longest WrestleMania at the time. And because they put so much into it, then they gotta fill it out. 12 matches. We start the show with the this is probably my favorite thing of WrestleMania. It's not my favorite thing. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It's one of my favorite things, that opening video package, because it just gets you so hyped. It's just like, all right, here we go. This is what we've been waiting for. We knew we was gonna watch WrestleMania tonight. And this opening video package is like the thing that's just like, all right, here we go. We finally here. We finally hit this point. Now let's get to watching WrestleMania.
Yep.
And, welcome to WrestleMania. That type stuff. So that's what it gets me hyped for. So they hyped the 20-year legacy of WrestleMania. They start showing all the moments. Stone Cold winning his first title, Terry body slamming Andre, all that stuff. And at the end of the video package, we show Vince McMahon, his son Shane McMahon, and his firstborn grandson, Declan McMahon. And seeing Declan McMahon as a damn near newborn baby, he was maybe a good like 5-6 months. It made me feel old because if you don't know, Declan McMahon is a freshman walk-on for the Indiana football team.
Yeah.
So I really felt old watching this first little situation, but yeah, I don't think he played. He was a red shirt last year, so we're gonna see if he's good because he was a walk-on. But it gives him something to do, before it's time to join the family business or family businesses, because Shane got his own stuff going on, so he might work for Shane, he might work for Uncle Paul. You never know,
right?
Never know. But first matchup, John Cena challenges the Big Show for the United States Championship, and he gets to win here. And this, I mean, it wasn't the best match. It was just a John Cena. All right, we here. Time to start doing what we doing with John Cena. History shows this was the first stop into a legendary career, a GOAT career. This was John Cena's first championship win on the main roster, and he cheated to win. He did.
Yep.
Y'all forget that happened. Use some brass knuckles, which I mean, you got to do what you got to do. You facing a 500-pound giant. He already been kicked out your finisher once, so you got to do what you got to do. My guy had a crazy baby face pop, which if you come out at Madison Square Garden in the Patrick Ewing jersey, you're going to get some automatic cheap pop right there.
Of course.
So I gave this one a C grade. What's your take on this match and what grade you give it?
I probably even like B minus. It wasn't bad, but it's like you said, it was what it was. It wasn't long or anything like that. It just kind of getting the formalities out the way before we start getting on the journey we was going on here. Sure. But yeah, it's WrestleMania. You got to do what you got to do. You win MSG. You never held the title before. You know what I'm saying? The obstacle in your way is a giant one. So you gotta even the playing field out a little bit. Mm-hmm. Plus, that was his MO. Like this was him finally just getting out of the heel phase going into this year. So he still kind of had them little tricks up his sleeve about it. So it worked. He hits Big Show with 2 F5s. So it's like
FUs.
Let's let you know, like Big Boy was lifting out here. But yeah, it was a dope moment. It was a dope moment. Like this was kind of one of the first, one of those matches that like opened the show off fast and hot. Because like you got the right person who's getting the crowd hot. You got the right, nice quick matchup and the right result.
Yep. So you can't get mad at it. And it's the important thing, the right result. You open a match like this, like you can't have Big Show winning the first match. Nobody will see that shit.
Nah, man. Hell no.
So let's get it cracking. After this match, we go backstage. Eric Bischoff is like, "Hey, fam, I heard the Undertaker is here. Coachman. I don't know what he was a coach of. Coachman, I need you to go find the Undertaker." So Jonathan Coachman, they had him trying to be as black as possible with Teddy Long, like right before he met up with Eric Bischoff. He was using slang. He was like, "What up, player? What up, Teddy? I see y'all holler at you. I'll check in with you." Do he talk like that for real?
Hell no. Ain't no way.
That's that. See, why do black people do that? Like, we get around other black people, we just like have to blacken it up because we gotta. I can't make them think I'm a sellout. I can't make them think I'm a sellout because I talk proper.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get that.
I've caught myself doing that a lot, and
Oh, me too.
I do it all the time. Like, I run into like if I walk in a barbershop, my voice get a couple octaves deeper. Like, why do I do that?
But it's like I always thought of it as just like you kind of just blend. Well, for me, it's just like you blend in with the surrounding that you're in. It's like if the vibe is like in the barbershop vibe, then you get into the barbershop mode. If you around people, you gotta like use them proper vowels when you're talking. It's like, okay, all right, you play up or down to it.
Yeah, because like the way and this is like it's called code switching, but I don't go full blown code switching. Like when I'm around white people, I'll talk like in a professional voice and shit. But like I still kind of I still like maintain myself.
Right. There's limits. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like don't go Brandy. You know what I'm saying? Where she never talks like that.
Facts.
Ever.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like
it's levels.
It's having range is what it is, as far as I'm concerned. As long as you're not veering off of one of those paths, then it's just having some range to it.
Yeah, because when I'm around actors, it's a different thing. But yeah, anyway, we divert. Coach is told to go find the Undertaker. And he goes to look for the Undertaker. And I don't think he finds the Undertaker.
No, he doesn't.
He finds something. And
oh my God.
After that, we switch over to a promo evolution. It's Randy Orton in the middle, Batista here, Ric Flair right here. And they own the same stairwell where Randy Orton kicked Mick Foley about a year before at Madison Square Garden. And he just recapping. And Randy Orton, this was like I said, it's the precursor to his breakout moment on the main roster for when he really just started to take off. And he hit we a little far ahead of time. He hit a little snag in the road. He needed to take a pit stop, had a flat tire. His engine got blown out. He had to get it fixed. And it took a few months to do that, but he got back on the right page. But we get to our next match on the show for the World Tag Team Championships. RVD and Booker T. I think they came into this as a champions. I don't remember. It's Googleable. I don't feel like looking it up. I should just
look. A few moments later.
Found it. RVD and Booker T, they were the tag team champions going into this. And they defended the titles versus La Resistance, the Dudley Boys, and Garrison Cade and Mark Jindrak. And this was around the time they made me think Garrison Cade was from Omaha. He was not. This man is from San Antonio, Texas. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. You lied to me. It is what it is. It is what it is. This match, it was kind of mid. It ain't really do much but get a couple big names on the card. RVD and Booker T could have been doing so much better than this, but I remember they were one of my favorite teams back then because they were doing something. They had something to do at least, and I couldn't complain about it. I can't complain when my favorite wrestlers are doing something together, and it was what it was. That La Resistance theme slapped, as always slaps. La Resistance were the first entrance in wrestling that I ever saw live in person. So that was the first theme song I ever heard live in person, and it slapped. And circling back to Garrison Cade and Mark Jindrak, I don't think they were ever going to be anything as a unit. They were just thrown together, and I don't think the crowd cared. We know Mark Jindrak was notably suffered from a lot of immaturity, which he happened to be more immature than Randy Orton, which is saying a lot.
And at that time, hell yeah.
Yeah. So this match, it wasn't nothing really. I'm going to give it a C-. I don't even think Devon got tagged in the match at any point.
Nope.
Which, yeah. Anyway, what did you think about this match? I don't really got nothing to say.
Yeah, that's a hard C. Like, the thing was, too, it's like, it's crazy because this was when we had so many tag teams that it was like, you want to fit everybody onto the card, and this is how you wanted to do it, as opposed to later years where we wasn't spotlighting the tag team division at all. But, yeah, this was just, get these guys on the card, get them some shine, and we got the end result. And then the match kind of was the finish was just kind of like, oh, okay, we're done. Let's move on now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's what it was. What it was, man. Nothing special. It's a damn shame what the Dudley Boys was getting into this year. There was a whole bunch of nonsense. RVD and Booker T. They ended up doing their own thing later on in the year though. I think this is around the time RVD got hurt, like shortly after this.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, I ain't hit it yet, but it's coming up.
Yeah, he tore his knee all up, and he's gone from the most of the latter half of 2004. As we talked about previous episode, Booker T over on SmackDown. Don't really remember what La Resistance did after this. I think they were still around 05, and then they kind of broke apart.
And, Rene Dupree got sent to SmackDown.
Yeah, he got drafted to SmackDown. That's right.
And then the rest of them stayed together for a little bit longer.
Yeah, Sylvan and Rob Conway, they broke up the draft in 05, if I remember correctly. And Sylvan was doing the male model gimmick. And then Rob Conway had a slap theme song, but it was only on Sunday Night Heat. You never seen him on Raw. And that's how those guys' careers kind of faded away.
Right.
Got crazy heat back in their day though. Crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no crazy
doubt. We get backstage again, and Jonathan Coachman is still looking for the Undertaker, and he thinks he might have found him. He's come across this room, and it's got this bluish, purplish glow coming out of it, and there's a lot of knocking going on. And so you think, oh shit, is this the Undertaker? No, it's the Undertaker. It's Mean Gene Okerlund. It's not Mean Gene Okerlund. Was that good? Y'all let me know in the comments. Let me know. Mean Gene Okerlund comes out and his shirt is all messed up and he got lipstick lips all over himself. And it's like, what's going on? And he's just like, oh, I was getting ready for the Hall of Fame. Cap.
Yeah.
Cap. I wasn't ready. Hold on.
That's cap. Totally cap. That means lie.
You know he was lying. He was flustered. And out comes Bobby the Brain Heenan in a similar predicament as Mean Gene Okerlund. And then you start to wonder what the hell is going on. You getting the Steve Harvey mode. What in the hell is going on? You don't know what's going on. And then out comes Mae Young and female redacted coming out the closet too. Dragging Mean Gene and Bobby Heenan in the back end, and seems as they're having some sort of situation, some sort of menage a trois going on. And I'm just gonna say right now, Vince McMahon should have been investigated for misconduct after this.
Exactly.
What was going on? What was going on?
Y'all got to use your context clues sometimes.
Yeah, fam. I don't want to know what was going on, and I don't want to say fortunately, but fortunately, all four of those individuals are gone, and so we're not going to get an explanation out of it. It's not fortunate that 3 of the 4 are gone, but it's fortunate that none of them are around to tell us what happened.
Damn. Yeah.
But elsewhere, we getting back to some wrestling now, and Christian and Chris Jericho is next up. And listen, we're gonna just recap what they was beefing over back in like December of 03, maybe November of 03. They were college frat boys in their 30s who made a bet over a Canadian dollar who could smash either Trish or Lita first. And Christian ended up with Lita, and Chris Jericho ended up with Trish. And over the time, Jericho ended up catching feelings for Trish, like real life feelings for her. Yeah. And Christian didn't like that. And so as Chris Jericho is preparing for a Fozzy concert in Omaha, Nebraska on a Monday night that I don't know if many people went to, Christian attacked Trish Stratus, put her in the walls of Jericho. I was there. And I couldn't believe it. So this is the perfect formula for a WrestleMania beef. You knew that I was catching feelings for this woman, and you came in with the bullshit.
Got crazy.
So we got Canadians beefing over shampoo a couple years earlier. Now we got this. Got Canadians beefing over a woman. And as we know what happened, Trish Stratus comes out there, accidentally costs Chris Jericho the match. Christian wins. And this was actually the biggest win in Christian's career at this point. He beat a former world champion, former WrestleMania main eventer. It was huge for him. And Trish Stratus is all apologetic, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Chris. I didn't mean to do it." Chris Jericho's like, "It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's whatever. It's whatever. I'm just glad you're safe. And I'm glad you're here with me right now. We can go out, New York City. I came up in New York City. My dad used to play here. We can just have a night on the town tonight. It's all good." Psych! Trish Stratus, low blow. Gotcha, bitch. Got him, man. And you know what? These hoes ain't loyal.
Whole time
was playing my man.
Messing with your boy. Was messing with your mans that you was beefing over. She was like, "Yep, I'm just gonna switch it up. I'm a homie hop out here."
It was what it was. And this match, I'm gonna give it an A- because it was incredible. It was the best match on the card so far. Third match, but it was the best match so far. What you gonna do for this match?
I'll give it A- more so for like, the story going into it, because like this was one of the first times we saw Jericho like kind of, I don't want to say babyface, like he's just on the face side.
Pathetic.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. He's because he's going in there naive, but he's like, you see him more so vulnerable instead of being like the cocky heel going into it. And him, Christian, Edge, they all had great chemistry with each other, so you knew the match was going to be good. But It's the before and the after that really kind of kick it up a notch.
Facts. So we go backstage again. It's a lot of filler backstage segments, video packages all throughout. I mean, it's how you got to build a card, man. They know more than me. They've been doing this for years. They've been putting on live TV and pay-per-view for years at this point. So they do what they do. We get backstage. Lillian Garcia is interviewing The Rock and Mick Foley. And they're hyping their match coming up versus Evolution. Get The Rock cutting Hurricane and Rosie, called them Hamburglar and Grimace. Also cut to Madison Square Garden legends, Jimmy Snuka and Don Morocco.
Yeah,
cut to the crowd. Yeah, that was big random, but I expected those guys to be in the building. So
yeah,
I understand why they in the building. They just randomly just back there chilling in the hallway. It's hallway kind of dark, man. What you doing? It is what
in the camera shot.
Yeah, man. Shit. I don't know if I want to trust Jimmy Snuka in the dark hallway, but it is what it is.
No, sir. If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know. So we cut to the match, Evolution versus the Rock and Sock Connection. And the Rock crazy pop coming out. Evolution got some decent heat from the crowd. As you know, the Motorhead theme song goes crazy. And Mick Foley got a pretty good reaction too. And as we've mentioned before, it's the precursor. But as you know, as you may not know, this was only the second time and the only other time that The Rock and Ric Flair had a match versus each other or with each other at all. And it was this match, and they had a match on Monday Night Raw 2 years earlier when The Rock was WWE champion. I Googled it before the match. This match, it was hot all the way through. It was good, like 22, 23 minutes long. And best match of the night so far.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely.
Compared to the match before that, this one they took it over, just nonstop action. Wasn't much filler going on in here. It just went straight to it. This was a well-booked match, and the right team won in the end. And we wouldn't see The Rock at WrestleMania in any capacity, in an in-ring capacity, for 7 years.
Yeah.
And he wrestled at Madison Square Garden 7 years later. And within that time frame, did a lot of bad movies. Doom.
Yeah, this is before the boom period. Before we got to biggest actor in Hollywood, he had to go through some rough patches.
Yeah. Which, if I'm not mistaken, Fast 5 did come out before he came back to wrestling.
Yeah, just before that.
Yeah. Tooth Fairy was cool too. I ain't gonna hold you. I rock with
it's better. It's better than people give it credit for.
Yeah. Shout out to The Rock's bad movies. What grade you gonna get this one?
I give this an A-. Like you said, it's like straight from start to finish. It's just like not a lot of extra going on here. But I always remember this being the first match I realized where like these motherfuckers be cursing up a storm in these matches. Because like Rick, when it was one point where I think Rock was trying to make a tag, and in the old videos, obviously Peacock edited it out now, but like on the videos on old.com back in the day, you hear Rick grabbing me. He's like, I don't think so, motherfucker. I'm like, yo, wait a minute. Was I supposed to hear that just now? But yeah, man, like these two, like they put on they did the showman thing between Rock, between Rick and everybody. You know, it was a great story being told in the ring. And then, like you said, the precursor being Randy and Mick, everyone else kind of just in the mix, but it wound up being Randy getting that pin over Mick at WrestleMania to start his trajectory off on the same night. So yeah, this was solid.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one an A. This was great work, man, and I don't complain about seeing The Rock at Madison Square Garden. That's where he made his debut. That's where he initially had his last match. That's where he had his return match. There's a lot of stuff going on, man. And then The Rock has had his last full-blown match in the same area. So New York has a special place in The Rock's career.
Facts.
We ain't gonna talk about that 6-second match he had, which was his real last.
Yeah, I'm not counting that.
No comment. Next up, we got a presentation of the Hall of Fame class of 2004. This is the first Hall of Fame class since 1996. So for some reason, they went 8 years without a Hall of Fame. And then they get back to New York City. They say, yo, we got to do it again. And we've had a Hall of Fame class ever since. So I don't know who was the headliner in this class. Who would be considered a headliner? Heenan?
I guess.
Slaughter?
Because
Harley Race?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Because it was them, it was Billy Graham, Harley, Jesse
Ventura, Big John Studd,
Bobby,
Don Morocco, Greg Valentine, Junkyard Dog, and Pete Rose and Tito Santana.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of them could be that, but I don't think there was one like this is who the headliner was. I think it was just like, okay, all of y'all,
these are all the guys who have been known to be in the WWF in Madison Square Garden back in the day. We're gonna honor all of them.
Yeah,
wasn't a true headliner this year. They didn't really get the headlining folks until the next year. I think it was Terry was in 05.
Yep.
Was Austin in 05 too? It's Googleable.
No. Austin was 07. Austin was 09. No, because I remember 07. He was 09.
Was he?
Because that was the year he came out with because they all came out and then he came out with the 4-wheel and rode it down the long ass ramp. Yeah.
Okay. So I remember 07 was JR and King.
I know it was definitely King. Was it JR too?
I know JR and King went in the same.
07 was definitely. I know 07 was definitely King.
Austin wasn't 09. You right. 08 I think was Rocky Johnson and Ric Flair.
Yeah. 08 was.
Rocky Johnson and Peter Maivia. Rock inducted both of them, and then Ric Flair, of course, in 08 he was the first active competitor into the Hall of Fame. 07 was Dusty.
Oh, that's right.
07 was Dusty. Dusty was a headliner with Mr. Perfect. King and
Jerry was in it too. Yeah.
Year.
Okay, yeah.
And in 06, the headliner was Bret Hart and Eddie Guerrero. I remember that.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So yeah. So Terry was like the first when they started, getting back to the Hall of Fame and having headliners. I think that's appropriate. Terry is Terry, but we ain't gonna deny his place in in that legion. He ain't did nothing egregious to deny his place. Like saying the N-word is egregious, but right now it is what it is. We can I'm gonna just move on. I'm just moving. We can talk about Terry all day.
Hell yeah.
Next up, this one, I'm not gonna grade this match, and I don't think we need to spend much time talking about it. But the Playboy evening gown match, Sable and Tori Wilson got on the cover of Playboy, and a lot of other women on the roster didn't really feel that they should have been on it. And that was Miss Jackie Gator and Stacy Keibler were their opponents. And this was the typical women's match at Mania for this era. And Vince McMahon also needed a misconduct investigation back then.
Listen, all of 03 should have told you this man needed a misconduct investigation.
Factual. Like all of 03. But I don't think we need to talk about this. It was an evening gown match, which I think the rules were that the evening gown was supposed to come off at some point, and then Sable was like, I think we're gonna start the match without him anyway.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of perversion going on, fam.
Super.
Michael Cole and Taz, they made the most out of it. They were pretty entertaining in the match.
Yeah. Thanks, out.
Anyway, let's move on. We got a video package, them interviewing a lot of fans from all over the world, talking about WrestleMania. And I've always wanted to be in one of these. I came all the way from blah, 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 to come see WrestleMania. So
that's what I'm saying.
I'm thinking whenever they have a WrestleMania in Vegas, I'm going to need to be in one of these videos. This might be another 10 years at this point.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway. Backstage, we got Eddie Guerrero and Redacted, the male Redacted, in a backstage promo. They hyping each other up for their matches. This was great to watch back then because it got me hyped, but it's kind of unfortunate to watch nowadays.
Yeah,
very unfortunate.
It's a damn shame. Oh, and speaking of the cameraman, you remember how they hold us at SummerSlam?
Yeah.
They had the dudes back there, and you know they was filming something. It was a group of, it was me, you, Malik, Katie, and it's like 2 other people.
It was like Malik homeboy.
Yeah, we was all chilling.
Yeah,
we had the gear out. We're like, yo, come through, get a soundbite. It was like,
said,
nah, it's too black over there. We got to go this way. That was crazy.
So fast forward to Money in the Bank last year, cameraman had the camera right on me as I'm like watching the main event. I don't know where they posted that footage at all. I have no idea what they saving the footage for. I haven't seen it yet. I've been waiting on a documentary on this. I ain't seen it. Had the camera right on me though.
Damn.
I knew, so I was just like, the camera on me. Let me get more hype. I had to get hype. Anyway.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, anyway, man. Yeah. Eddie Guerrero, Redacted. Very unfortunate. But we transitioned this into the Cruiserweight Open, which was some complicated shit. We had like 10 dudes. Chavo Guerrero put the Cruiserweight title on the line. It was like 10 dudes, and the match was 10 matches. 10 minutes. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So it was too much going on. It was like a pinfall every 40 seconds. So it was kind of hard to follow. It was really quick. The competitors in this match, Ultimo Dragon, which if you remember watching this live, Ultimo Dragon tripped
twice,
and they edited it out of Peacock. It was edited on the network too, because I remember like when the network first launched, that was one of the first things I went to go watch. It cut out. I was like, damn. But Ultimo Dragon, Shannon Moore, Jamie Noble, Funaki, Nunzio, Billy Kidman, Tajiri, Akio, and Rey Mysterio. This 2004 ass match. I love the Cruiserweight division back then because I used to love all these guys, even though like it was kind of booked stupid. Like we had Jackie that came in and won the championship later this year. I don't know if you at that point yet. I think that was in the summer.
Not yet.
But yeah, Jackie won a fucking Chavo Guerrero Classic. Won it. Chavo Classic came out with Chavo Jr. in this match. It was fast-paced filler, and I think it was the perfect spot before the next match to just kind of hype the crowd up a little bit with just some fast-paced action. But it was just crazy booked, a little overbooked. Rey Mysterio was clearly ahead of everybody else at this point in that division, and he was just still around the cruiserweights until like mid 04, late 04, when him and Eddie started.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rey Mysterio was out of place. I'm actually gonna give this a D grade because it really wasn't nothing notable about the match. But I mean, Rey Mysterio hit a plancha over the referee on the Chavo Classic. That was really the only thing to take away from
it. Basically, yeah, man. Like I was just kind of about the whole thing, so I give probably like a C plus.
Yeah.
It wasn't much I was investing in. I knew at the end of the day it's gonna come down to Chavo and Ray, so it's like, all right. And then once we get there, he pulls some snake shit. So okay, great.
And Move they waited like another 3 months to put the title on Ray too.
Right.
So yeah, I didn't like how the cruiserweight division was booked back then, but I loved all the wrestlers in the division. Even Chavo. Yeah. Even Chavo. Billy Kidman had a slap theme song. Funaki had a slap. Tajiri had a slap.
I say all the time, Billy Kidman was not that dude to have gotten a wrestling theme that was that dope. I'm sorry.
That should have went to somebody that was on like Randy Orton's level at that time.
Exactly. Like he had some solid. Listen, as a cruiserweight, he was like a solid moving dude. Like,
oh yeah,
he was doing some shit that I said, oh damn, okay, that was no. But like, still, not for that thing. I'm sorry.
Fact. Does Billy Kidman still work for WWE? Anybody know that? It's Googleable.
Good question.
Nah, he don't. Wikipedia says he doesn't. So Wikipedia has never lied to me in my life. That's actual fact. It's done. It's done.
I know
right.
he was a producer.
Yeah, he was. He got furloughed. And he came back later that year after the big cuts for COVID. But apparently, as of last year, he is no longer in the WWE. Meanwhile, we got Petey Williams every week.
Yeah,
which is I think is a good replacement.
Him and Tori was married.
They were. Are they still married?
Around that was during that time. No,
Yeah.
It was from 03 to 08.
Okay. Damn. Since 08? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that ended. Okay. Shout out to Billy Kidman, man. Real quick. I'm gonna give a shout out to Billy Kidman. We gotta put Billy Kidman on the throne real quick. That shooting star press, it took me like 2 years to learn how to do it.
Oh my God. I ain't never tried.
It took me like 2 years. I almost fucked my neck up one of them times.
Listen. After Brock tried it at 19, I'm like, I'm never trying this.
Yeah.
Because the way that almost ended in complete it almost ended in complete disaster. I'm like, I'm good, fam.
I've never done a standing one though. I've always had to do the one where I like get the momentum. So I always had to get the momentum and like get the head start. I've never did a standing one.
Yeah.
I did one time and I hit my head up against the wall in my bed and I like scraped my forehead.
Oh, shit.
But it was like it was cool though because it was just like a rug burn type of situation. So
yeah,
best case scenario, doing shit that they literally tell you not to do at home. Best case scenario, exactly. I got a rug burn on my forehead. So
we got the worst. Oh, we all got stories about shit like that.
I listen, just to not diverge from what we doing right here. I am not going to tell you about a time that I cut my foot up and it was blood all over my room. So just note that it happened. I'm not going to go into detail of what happened. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
That's not right now. Next match on the card.
If y'all want additional content, we gonna like just put a request in to get that story on here somewhere.
Yeah. I'll put the story. We could talk about. We could do this a round table of just growing up. Another growing up a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Just in general, we talk about everybody growing up wrestling fans. We get some guests on here, all that. Yeah. Let me tell you what that. We put that in notes. Next match on the card, man. Probably the worst match on the entire card. The biggest dud on the card, on the same card that had a Playboy evening gown match. Brock Lesnar is one of my favorite wrestlers, mind you.
Yeah.
Currently and back then. Versus another one of my favorite wrestlers currently and back then, Goldberg. And I love both of these guys, but listen, this is a D- easily. This is the easiest D- I've ever given in my life. I ain't even have to read the paper. I didn't have to see the assignment. I was D- off rip. Because you know what? It was plagiarism. That's why it's automatic. Only reason it's not getting an F is because of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because Stone Cold Steve Austin is the only good thing about this match. He was dang near the only good thing about this build. Honestly, this build was about Stone Cold Steve Austin just abusing his power as an authority figure. That's really, if you want to bring it just in full circle, this was a Stone Cold storyline. If anything, it just had these two dudes was there just because Stone Cold couldn't wrestle.
Basically.
The crowd wasn't messing with this match at all. They knew what was up. They had the internet back then. Dave Meltzer was on the internet back then. So they probably found it out from him. This was back around the time that he was somewhat legitimate. Somewhat.
Yeah. He actually had people that he actually did talk to.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was him or whoever back then. They told y'all what was going down. They told y'all both of these men were leaving after WrestleMania, and the crowd knew that and completely shit on the entire match from the very beginning. Backed themselves into a corner with this one, and Stone Cold was the only thing that could save it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was the thing. Well, first off, I'm giving it a D2.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing was, I guess putting Stone Cold in it was kind of that countermeasure because of the fact that they were both leaving. But it's like I feel like you still could have salvaged it, even though they're both leaving, if you had just made the rivalry about the two of them. All you did was they had one interaction at Survivor Series, they had another at the Rumble. Then Brock cost Goldberg the Rumble. Goldberg goes to No Way Out and costs him the title, and that's the last time they interacted with each other before Mania. So it's like
Brock F5 Stone Cold like the week after No Way
Out. Yeah. All of a sudden it became about Stone Cold and Brock, and it's like, okay, I see some of that because initially they wanted Stone Cold to put Brock over a couple years ago, but it's like, okay, that's behind us. Where is the interaction between Brock and Goldberg? It's like you see Brock in the ring, he's begging for a match with Goldberg. He's like, please, Vince, give me Goldberg. Okay, so why didn't you not? You went to Raw. You went to Raw to jump Stone Cold. Why did you not go and see about Goldberg? Like, yo, I challenge you at Mania. I'm out here right now. What's up with it?
That show. I don't remember seeing Goldberg that year.
I don't think he was. I don't think he was at all. So it's like you have this thing that's basically dream matchup between these two. It's gonna happen, but there's no rivalry, there's no build up for it. It's just, okay, you announced it and they've interacted in the past, but here it is, the weeks leading up to it, there's nothing going on between the two of them. It's just, Brock and Stone Cold beefing back and forth. He steals his four-wheeler, takes it to SmackDown, and the whole SmackDown roster has to try and keep Stone Cold out, even though they just said, nah, fuck it. You go ahead and get him. We don't care about him like that. So it's like that in itself. It's like, how are you going to get so invested in a match that there's no heat for?
Yeah.
Coupled with the fact that they was leaving.
Yeah. So they both ended up leaving. And Stone Cold gave him a stunner for their troubles out the door.
Yeah. And then it's like they just got there and just stopped caring about whatever story they was trying to tell in ring, because it's like, I lost count because I just wanted to see, like, did they actually try? But all this time they're standing there just looking around the crowd because of them booing and Goldberg yelling out, fuck these people, and they just walking around. They do 2 long ass lockups, which result in nothing. And then it's like there's a brief point in the middle where it's like, okay, all right, they finally getting into some sequences, and then it's just back to the bullshit. Like, bruh, you gotta try something. You gotta attempt something.
Yeah, Goldberg gets a couple spears and a jackhammer. Stone Cold basically stuns Brock out the door after Brock, gives a middle finger to the Garden, 2 middle fingers. Said, "Fuck y'all, I'm out of here." And, that's what it was, fam. That's what it was. Goldberg got a couple beers with Stone Cold, and you know how that ends up.
Yeah, every time.
Every single time. And
it's worth it, though.
Yeah. So we get some more promos, man. After this, Vince McMahon comes out, thanks to fans, and thanks to fans for being there. And we get a hype package for WrestleMania 21 in Hollywood. It wasn't in Hollywood. It was in downtown Los Angeles.
Staples.
35 minutes apart from each other. Don't let them lie to you. Don't let them lie to you this year either. Still not in Hollywood.
I'm about to say it's Inglewood.
Which is even further.
Tell the truth
from Hollywood.
Yeah. But tell the truth, goddamn.
You gotta market it. Don't let them lie to you, people. For anybody going to WrestleMania this year, don't let them lie to you. And I want y'all to be honest. What's on the other side of that stadium? Just be honest. What's on the other side of that stadium? Stadium look nice on the front. Just be careful going on the other side of that stadium.
I'm about to say, a
block or 2 over. It's not
the reason why
nice over there.
It's the reason why the first time they had a big event there, you had Snoop, Dre, people that know about that side of town.
Facts.
It just wrote itself at that point in time.
Facts. Yeah, so it's nice. So just know which way you're going. If you going to any other shows or events, just be careful out there that you don't wander into the wrong territories in Inglewood. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to be on y'all safe side. But next match, very similar to the other tag match we had earlier in the night. It's kind of mid. Too Cool, Rikishi, and Scotty 2 Hotty. They are the WWE Tag Champions. Defeat the Basham Brothers. Some more mid. The world's greatest tag team, which they weren't doing much at all. And the APA, which they also weren't doing much at all. This is Ron Simmons' last WrestleMania match. And last match APA would ever have at WrestleMania. Again, it was mid. I have nothing to say about this match. I'm going to give it a C- again as well. And I don't think nobody thought that Bradshaw would have been world champion a few months later, but that's what happened.
Thanks.
That's what happened. What you got to say about this match? I don't really have nothing.
Me either. It's the same thing. Like I give this a D because it had less to it going on than the other one. At least the other one you had,
RVD and Booker.
It was 3 teams. Yeah, it was entertaining with teams that you can like relate to. Well, not relate to, but like you connected more so with. And then you had that empty spot where it was like, okay, so whoever wins on Sunday Night Heat is going to get into this match. This one, they just like, it's just thrown together. Like, okay, they're the champs right here. APA. Who else was in it?
World's greatest tag team in the Bashmans.
Okay, yeah.
It's like world's greatest tag team is them, but they, I don't really remember what they was doing around this time. And then of course, they broke up a couple weeks later.
Right. Yeah. It never hit for me. Honestly, this is probably the match I spent the least amount of time to.
And it wasn't really that long. And we can move on. It is what it was. We get a video package. Edge coming back soon. You remember Edge broke his neck about a year and some change. The previous year. And he had been gone. And now he's coming back. And he's coming back with a pun intended, an edge to him. So he became a legend very shortly after this.
Oh yeah.
All time. That point. Next up, this is really why I wanted to cover WrestleMania 20. Because we got a promo. Out comes newly minted WWE Hall of Famer Jesse Ventura. Governor Jesse the Body Ventura.
I'm packing the air, this gas or what?
These peasants, you peasants.
This is you. This is all you. Because you brought the idea to me, and then I went and watched it, and I'm like, damn, I forgot this happened too. So Jesse the Body Ventura. Hold on. WWE Hall of Famer, Jesse the Body Ventura. Bring that ass here.
Bring that ass here, boy.
Yeah, we're gonna do the first ever retro peasant of the week to this WWE Hall of Famer because Jesse comes out here and I'm thinking like, okay, I don't remember this part of it. I haven't watched it all the way through, so I'm thinking maybe he gonna, bring somebody out, some new talent or some old talent. I'm thinking this is gonna be a nice little segment. This dude comes out here and starts talking about putting the wrestler in the White House
2008.
Again. Yeah, in 2008. I'm forgetting that this is an election year. But this and something else that happened shortly after WrestleMania reminded me we were in an election year at that point in time. But he's talking about putting the wrestler in the White House in 2008. And then he goes and he finds a certain individual that we all know very well, especially now, Donald Trump, who was a good 12 years away from running for president and successfully becoming president. Yeah. But he's just sitting in MSG in the crowd. He's with his son. He goes over to interview him. Again, I'm still thinking, you know what? Maybe this will be okay. He goes to him. He just asks him like, "How's he doing?"
I'm enjoying WrestleMania.
Yeah. He's just this talking to him. He's like, "Listen, Donald, if I run for president in 2008, Do I have your moral and financial support? He says, absolutely, Jesse. You have my support 110%, Jesse. I absolutely support you.
And
he just leaves.
Totally get that means lie.
Like, it's not like it was Vince or somebody like that, where he probably would have, but no. And then after that, he just like gives one last goodbye to everybody. Like, yeah.
Wants to see a wrestler.
Get a wrestler in the White House.
2008.
Yeah. And then he leaves. Like, bro, there's 12 matches on the card. We didn't have time for this shit.
Nah.
Madison Square Garden got a curfew. They got a curfew in the MSG in the Garden.
They
like,
do.
They're going to turn the lights off at some point in time. There was no space for this. Like, I don't even know who to get.
They went up to James Dolan before the show or before this segment. They was like, they went up. Vince McMahon was like, "Hey, James Dolan, $1 million. Got to do this segment. Let's extend the show a little bit longer." Yeah, James Dolan cheap. So you throw $1 million in his face and be like, "Shit, do what you want, fam." Trump came out there. Here's another $1 billion for you, James. I love you, James. You're doing a fine job, James.
Oh, that's
funny
crazy.
Guys, man. Funny old rich guys.
It's crazy because like and it was crazier is because I couldn't have seen Vince doing Jesse a favor like that, considering the fact that he went to go sue Vince years prior because Terry went and blew the whistle about unionization. So now you had him in court, you know what I'm saying? And you had to Terry, and that's how he found out that Terry was stitching, because Terry had to testify in court about that. And he did all of that to you. And you was like, yo, we're in MSG. I'm trying to run for the White House in 4 years. I just need a couple minutes out there with the crowd. Just let me have a microphone. Let me do my thing.
He probably talked to Trump before. He's like, "Hey, Trump, hey, slide Vince a couple, do me a favor." He probably had to get Trump to talk Vince into doing it.
Basically.
Rich white guy favors.
Yeah.
Rich white guy favors. Mm-hmm. Retro peasant of the week complete. Let's move on. Next match on the card, we got Victoria defending the women's championship against Molly Holly in a hair versus hair match. Victoria for Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Apparently, we're not going to get it this year, but it's always next year. And there's always a year after that. And the year after that, you know what? We're going to keep this campaign going as long as necessary. As long as necessary.
Exactly.
Impact, y'all can get it this year too. So we can, so Tara for Hall of Fame and Impact. Let's get it cracking. Right. But this match, it was short, but it was decent. And we all know Molly Holly had pitched the idea of getting her head shaved just so the women could be doing something besides showing themselves in the evening gown with lingerie on. So gave them something to do outside of that. And it was a lot of action for less than 5 minutes. So, they weren't getting 5 minutes on the card. The post-match stuff was longer than the match was, actually.
It's crazy, too, because they was still out there cutting her hair as they had the entrances coming for the next match.
Yeah, true. Big facts. So, Molly, after the match, Molly loses and Victoria retains the championship. I'm going to give this a C just because it was a little too short, but I think it was worth the C just because of all the action and stuff going on. I'll actually bump it up to a B because of the post-match stuff. Molly Holly, sore loser, runs away, tries to run away. Victoria's chasing her. Molly gets to Victoria, is kind of like, gets to Gorilla. It's kind of playing possum on Victoria, knocks her out, throws her into the chair, tries to shave Victoria's hair. And like the barber had me dying because like he didn't want no smoke. He handed them clippers over quick. He's like, here you go.
Like, I'm not in this.
My name is Bennett. I ain't in it.
Facts.
So the barber hands Molly the clippers. Molly couldn't get the clippers to work. She didn't know how no clippers work. So she's trying. It's not working. Victoria sprays her with some hairspray, knocks her out, and just shaves her. Completely shaves her bald. Even, they showed the video package for Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle, and Victoria's still out there shaving her as we about to do the entrances for Eddie and Kurt. So what grade you gonna get this match, man? What's your takeaway from it?
I'm giving it C plus. Like you said, like Molly has never had, bad matches. She's always been one of those that was progressive for, getting the women they shine in ring.
Still.
And even to this day. So like she's one of them people that earned her Hall of Fame ring. So once again, her dance partner that night needs to get hers. But with more time, they would have been. I mean, they had been having matches for a while. Like Victoria was beating her, I think, at least 3 times before we even got to this match.
Mm.
But a proper a good 10 minutes would have did them pretty better than this. But that's out of their control.
Yeah,
but
Jesse Ventura out there
right
for
result.
like 8 minutes right before it.
Thank you. Like again, didn't have time for this shit.
No. So yeah, shout out to those ladies, and let's get Victoria in the Hall of Fame, please.
Yes.
Por favor. We mentioned the video packages for Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle started playing, and got the WWE Championship coming up. Eddie Guerrero walking in as a champion, and Kurt Angle, leading up to this, kind of leaned into what was going on before Eddie won the title. He's being transparent about his demons and everything that he fought to overcome. And Kurt Angle's just like, man, this dude is a former drug addict, man. He don't deserve nothing. He don't deserve no spot. I'm an Olympic gold medalist. I did it with 3 eyes. One of them eyes meaning integrity. Eddie Guerrero just doesn't have integrity. And I ain't gonna lie, I thought they was gonna have Kurt do it while I was watching this match when it happened. And I think, like, in hindsight, it's good that they didn't, because they got that moment, which kind of doesn't matter now, but they still got the moment. And I think it was good to have Eddie Guerrero, at least try to make him do something over on SmackDown. I know, like, him and Ray from like 04 to 07, around that time, 08. I remember, like, they was talking about the ratings in Hispanic households is just through the roof.
Of course.
Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero alone. So I thought it was good, just for that metric, at least try to get something out of that. Eddie Guerrero, let's talk about this match, man. He came out in an Escalade pickup that was fire. Had the hydraulics on it, hit the switches on that joint. You know how that go. We got the ankle lock. Eddie Guerrero got the ankle lock on him. Kurt Angle's just working that ankle real tough. And he ends up, breaking the ankle lock one time, throws Kurt out of the ring. And he kind of like loosens his boot up. Like, damn, this shit hurt. Got to relieve the pain a little bit. Kurt Angle.
Pressure off it.
Yeah, Kurt Angle being the wolf that he is. He's the alpha male. He saw blood. He's like, I'm going to pounce on this. He goes back for the ankle lock again. Eddie just rubbing the ankle. He's oh, yeah, I got him right where I want him. I got the championship right in my grasp. Didn't realize that the boot was loose. The boot slips off. Kurt Angle's like, hold on, fam. Eddie Guerrero rolls him up into a cradle. And I thought that was a great way to end that match. That was a great finish. Plays into the lie, cheating, steal aspect of it. Eddie Guerrero lives to see another day. Kurt Angle wouldn't be world champion again for another 2 years at this point. But I'm gonna give this one an A+. I'm gonna give this an A+. It's Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle. I can't be mad. What you got for this one?
Yeah, I'm definitely giving it an A because I didn't realize Kurt was really whooping his ass for a lot of this match. Like it's what you would expect when you see the two of them together, but it's like it really kind of had to, show Eddie, using all of his resources to try and, wiggle his way out of this. And the finish was perfect. Like, because when you really think about it, like, Eddie didn't just go out flat out and beat anybody. Like, Brock had Goldberg show up and the DDT on the title. Like, there was always something helping him out to try and get his way, because it was part of the gimmick. Like, lie, cheating, and stealing. Yes. But this was something that nobody ever seen before. Like, he just literally slipped out his shoe and caught that win. Like, that was the perfect, right on top of everything. So yeah, this was solid. I'll give it an A.
Absolutely, man. And I don't think there's no more video packages. They just going straight into. I mean, there's video packages for the matches, but there's no other promos,
Yeah,
nothing. So the last promo of the night was Jesse Ventura putting
yeah.
himself over. But next up, we're going straight into the return of the Undertaker. Hadn't been seen since Survivor Series when he was buried alive by his half brother Kane. And at the Royal Rumble, this whole bunch of weird shit started happening. Kane started getting haunted by the ghost of the Undertaker. Every time Kane was out there, you hear it, doom, and then you just see the lightning come out, and then Kane standing up on stage and start raining and pouring all over the big red machine,
Right.
putting the fire out, very figuratively and literally. And this man started losing his mind. And it's a far cry from the Kane we saw a year before, who was just the previous summer. That Kane was a savage. He was vicious. And this Kane, he spooked. He spooked. What did Tupac say?
This nigga's scared.
Factual.
For sure. He had the crazy eyes every week.
Facts, man. And so Kane comes out, he spooked because he nervous. He knows what awaits him. And he got that look like, damn, I might have messed up. I might have messed up. What do players do, Reek?
They do all the time. It happens. They fuck up.
They do. They absolutely do.
Players fuck up.
Dang, Savi, you taking a minute, brother.
That's why I just said it, because I'm like, all right. I'm trying to stall him out.
You took a good 7 seconds. Yeah, they mess up. And Kane realized that at the beginning. Come out, you see the Druids coming out, Paul Bearer hitting you with your and this match, it wasn't great. It wasn't really good at all. The first Mania match has always been better. It's always been the best Kane and Undertaker match for sure. But it was all about spectacle, though. It was all about the return of the Undertaker coming back as the dead man. He had his hair had got a little bit longer. It was still short, for what we know. This man,
right? Yeah.
3-4 years later, his hair is longer than mine. Long hair don't care.
Extensions like crazy.
Facts. The streets said Vince McMahon never liked the Undertaker on the bike gimmick, and so he went back to the dead man. He kind of had the elements of the American Badass were still there. Like he had the biker gloves on. He was doing a lot of MMA moves and stuff. Around this time. He started getting into his bag, and then the Undertaker started putting on classics. A lot of folks be lying about the Undertaker, saying he got like 3 good matches in his career, which is, folks be capping. Now, if you want to say Undertaker didn't start, having great matches until around this time, I can agree with that. Before, y'all on some bullshit. I mean, y'all just looking for attention.
I can't even say that. Like, him and Brock had the matches in 2002.
Yeah. Hell in Cells.
2000.
Microchange.
Yeah. Like 2001 wasn't great. That was.
I mean, him and Triple H, that
we
was
don't really talk on. Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't talk about.
He did a lot of tag stuff around that time, though, so he wasn't really doing much.
Exactly. That's what's like. And the tag matches they had were with people that weren't going to be around, so it didn't matter.
This man was beefing with DDP.
Exactly.
Which on paper it should have been decent, but it wasn't booked well.
But DDP was a stalker. That was his gimmick.
Yeah.
That was the biggest problem. Like, you had DDP stalking this man's wife just to get beat down after the fact.
So yeah, y'all cap on the Undertaker, but around this time, this is when he started picking it up and he started putting on the memorable classics that everybody, I remember this match. This match with Kane, I'm gonna give it a C- though. Wasn't much on the in-ring aspect of it. Definitely thought I mean, it wouldn't have fit, it wouldn't have made sense. But since Pete Rose was in the building, I thought, we might have got Pete Rose out there, but it didn't make sense for the. So I understand why they didn't do it.
I'd have been all right with it.
Yeah. But what's your take on this?
They could have. I'll give it a B+, more so because of the moment that it was in there too, And like for me, it's like I always remember this year because I was as a kid relieved when Taker went from dead man gimmick to biker gimmick because like now I can watch him without like being shook up all the time. Yeah, I'm like, okay, cool. So when I found out that
I used to be
no, I was not. When he was putting people on crosses, I'm like, yo, I ain't with it. I'm not with it.
Yeah, I couldn't watch it.
So when I found out exactly. So it's like when I found out he went back to this game, I'm like, oh shit, here we go. But no, like for the moment that it was, you bring Paul Bearer out, he got the urn and everything like that, and you know the match was what it was. It was, you know what I'm saying? But it was all about okay, Taker's back, and it creates a whole new dynamic for SmackDown as a whole. So this was we knew what time it was.
Which is crazy because they didn't do Undertaker no favors in 04 after this, like outside of the JBL stuff.
I'm about to watch it all.
Yeah, so you getting on the Great American Bash, which was some Great American ass, and then and then this man was beefing with Heidenreich later in the year.
Oh my god!
It wasn't until the Orton stuff where he started to pick up himself.
Yeah,
and that's when he really started picking up.
Thanks.
So, yeah. And then we got the main event. Triple H is the world heavyweight champion, putting his title on the line versus Shawn Michaels and Redacted, formerly known as a double murderer, Chris Benoit. So, absolutely. Yeah. This was catch us up on what led to this match taking place. As we know, Benoit won the Rumble that year from number one. And you was just watching it recently. How did Shawn Michaels end up in this?
Yeah, so obviously we talked about it before. Him and Triple H have been having their beef go on since he came back. Since 2002, the SummerSlam match, and then Survivor Series, Elimination Chamber, the 3 Stages of Hell. Like they kept on and off, they kept going back at it. So they had a match. First they had a match on Raw for the title that ended in like a double pin. So because of the controversy, they said, okay, at the Rumble, y'all gonna face each other in a last man standing match. Then you get to the Rumble at last man standing, and they beat it was a damn good match. They beat the dog shit out of each other, but neither man could get up.
Triple.
Yeah, man. Like Shawn hits that sweet chin. This is like that last shot, last ditch effort, but they both were down for 10. So, HBK says, listen, we got to run it back. We got to finish it out. Stone Cold even agreed with it. He says, I think you deserve a rematch. But Redacted won the Rumble. He gets his pick. He was the first person to like pull the loophole. Like, okay, I'm on SmackDown, but I want to switch over to Raw, challenge for the World Heavyweight title. So they had the contract written up, and Stone Cold was like, listen, man, I do think you deserve a rematch, but what you going to do about it? Because Chris Benoit has it. He's obligated to get his title match. So when they're having a contract signing, HBK shows up and says, yo, listen, he got his Kanye on for a minute, like, yo, no disrespect, I'm gonna let you finish. But me and Triple H got the best rivalry of all time. we gotta finish it. Right, like we gotta finish it at the biggest show on the biggest stage. We gotta hash this out at Mania for Big Gold.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? And he was, Chris was like, yo, listen, it's not going down like that. But Shawn was like, fuck out of here. Hit that sweet chin. And he signed his name on that contract. So it's like, for about 2 weeks, Eric Bischoff, Stone Cold was tied up like, yo, I don't know what I'm going to do here. I've been talking to lawyers, but Shawn Michaels' name is on this contract. So is Triple H. And I know Chris Benoit has his legally has the Rumble stipulation for his title match. So they deliberate, and Stone Cold gave him till the end of the night, about 2 weeks out, where they decided, you know what? First time ever, the main event is going to be a triple threat for the world title. Shawn Michaels, Redacted, Triple H for the world title. And there it is.
And there we have it. and ended up being a match of the night easily. Like, no offense to Kurt and Eddie, but they went out there and they did their thing. This match is always held up, in my opinion. I just don't watch it often for obvious reasons. But this is one of my first times watching it in a while. So I'm gonna run down some sequences that led to the finish here. We got Shawn Michaels gets his head busted open by the ring post, and he ends up almost tapping out to the crippler crossface, and Triple H slips in and just like holds his hand like, hell no, fan, you ain't tapping. I ain't losing my belt. I'm leaving to fight another day. So at some point, I'll say his name for the remainder of the match. Benoit's out there on the table with Triple H, and then Shawn Michaels comes out there, and DX, without even thinking about it, they know it's beef. They want to resolve their beef with each other. They said, let's get him up out of here. Put him through the tape.
Yeah, man.
Jim Ross is like, we need the EMTs for Benoit out here now. Oh my God. And you don't need the EMTs for that. He came in there, and Triple H almost ended up retaining the championship. Benoit comes in and breaks it up. And then Benoit almost beats Triple H, almost taps him out with the, I think it was a sharpshooter, if I remember correctly. And Shawn Michaels comes in and breaks it up with the sweet chin music. Incredible spot.
That was the camera cut was A1.
Perfect.
Because you was not even seeing him. He came, it was like a literal drive-by.
It was
on screen. Like it was beautiful. Chef's kiss.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels is that's why he the GOAT, dude, because he do shit like that. So he comes in and he breaks it up, and Shawn Michaels goes for another sweet chin music on Redacted, aka formerly known as Chris Benoit. And Chris Benoit reverses it, gets him, throws him out the ring. And Triple H and Benoit going at it. And Triple H goes for the pedigree on Benoit. Benoit reverses it into the crossface. And this is the biggest pop of the night right here, because the crowd is feeling it. The crowd knows what's about to happen. And then Triple H, he goes against to the ring ropes to break it up. And Benoit like, hell no, fam. Let me roll this back into the middle of the ring. And the crowd knows what's about to happen. And they go even crazier. And Triple H can't do nothing but tap out. Yep. And we got a new world heavyweight champion. He fought the hardest that he could in 20 plus minutes, but it just wasn't anything. He ended up getting his head busted open too. It's a lot of blood. It's just his blood is all over the hands of this murderer. And he ends up tapping out. He can't do nothing. This match was incredible. Man. This is probably one of the best matches. I think if everybody believes it might be the best match in WrestleMania history, that the best main event and
it's on the list.
It's the best main event for sure. Until Shawn Michaels and Taker. But it's definitely like top 4, including those 2 Shawn Michaels and Taker matches. So I'm just saying Shawn Michaels got 3 of the 4 best Mania matches of all time. This match was so great, they remixed it 10 years later.
They did.
And it was just as good. A++ from your boy. What's you giving this match?
Yeah, triple A+. Yeah, man, this was the first big Triple H loss because of the time period. Like, this was basically like the early stage, not even early, like the mid stages of the Reign of Terror, because he really only had one more year of it after this. But yeah, this was when he was built up. No one, if you beat Triple H, it wasn't like you could win the battle, but you wasn't winning the war. This was the war.
Yep.
And Triple H, like Benoit was always, the underdog guy that wasn't gonna win the big one. He was, considered, the undersized. He can fight with anybody, but he's not gonna beat the big giants, the big names in the business. And they
gave him chances a lot. Like, you remember the 01, he had a couple title matches versus Stone Cold in 01 before he ended up getting hurt. And this is the first time they kind of went back to that.
Yeah, and then like the Rumble in 03, him and Kurt had a slapper. Yeah, but it was like every time you get that opportunity, it's like it never happens for him. So you get here, and then you got Shawn Michaels in the mix too. Putting on some of his best work on that show. It's like, the odds was always, never in favor. But that moment, that big win at that point in time was beautiful. And then of course, we mentioned before the scene with Eddie after the fact,
Yep.
which is so much sadder when you look back on it now. It's just like, yeah. And it's like at the end of the day, Mania is all about moments, and it's a moment that despite the future, it's like you don't take away from the moment, but it's like, damn,
yeah.
If we had known then, it's like how would you have reacted to it back then? But yeah, it's like for the moment that it was at a WrestleMania, it was one of the best all time, and the match was just.
And here's one thing that what makes this match really uncomfortable. It's him celebrating with the kid he's going to kill a couple years later. So that really just makes it a little uncomfortable. It's hard to watch. R.I.P. to Daniel Benoit and Nancy Toffolini. And we're gonna dedicate this review to y'all because it's really ends up being all about y'all in the end. And we don't really think about this. Hence me. This is like the first time I watched this whole event in a good 8 or 9 years, something like that. I only just watch it and here and there. So final thoughts after rewatching. Is there anything that you don't remember that happened? Is there anything that you just vividly remember and you always just yeah, I remember this happened?
The main thing that one of the two things that I didn't remember at all was the Jesse thing, obviously.
Yeah.
And this is the multiple backstage segments, the whole thing with coaching and all that. I didn't remember that happening. I'd always there was always a couple matches that I watched on it. It was Cena's match, Goldberg and Brock, because it's I had to see was it really that bad? But yeah. Taker and Kane and Eddie Kurt. I had seen a triple threat way, way back, but it was I just knew it was good. I just, you avoided watching it for a long time, but it was a lot of things. For the most part, I had, remembered most of it, but it was just watching it all the way through. I hadn't done it in a long time. So it's honestly one of the better Manias up there for sure.
Yeah. I didn't remember the Jesse promo, and I remember the coach running into Mean Gene and Bobby Heenan. I always remember that because it's just nasty.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can forget stuff like that. So
no. Hell no.
I mentioned Ultimo Dragon tripping in his entrance. I always remember that. Literally the first thing I looked for when the network first launched. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
So 04, I just remember how awesome the main event was, and I remember I always vividly remember Daniel Benoit at ringside. And so when all the stuff happens, that's literally the first thing I thought of. I was like, that's the kid from Mania. And so it makes it a whole lot more heartbreaking. And of course, the hug and shit just doesn't matter anymore. Which it sucks. We talked about this issue all the time. It sucks for the people who shared those moments with him. Those moments taken away from them too. There's so many moments where Kurt Angle just you can't acknowledge. This moment with Eddie, can't acknowledge it. This whole match, probably one of the best matches of all time in WrestleMania history, and you can't acknowledge it really. At least not publicly, not as a publicly traded company. You can't acknowledge that part of your history because of who it was and who it involved. Which is
I remember for the longest time, it's when you came to WrestleMania 20, it's they kind of stop at Taker Kane. That was that they basically showed it as if Taker and Kane was the main event, which obviously it's not, but it's you can't even mention the fact that hey, there was a world title main event that was one of the best all time because this person is involved in it, and it's we can't even mention the fact that he was there and he ultimately won the match and was the guy on that night.
Yeah, the synopsis on Peacock says Triple H defends his world title.
Right.
Don't even mention the dude's name, nothing. You can't.
No.
You can't.
No.
There's The only record of him on WWE.com is a title lineage. I don't even know if those pages are still up at this point. Like this was years ago. They used to have those pages up. It just,
yeah,
there was no link to him at
they
all.
they used to have a whole like the Hall of the Champions throughout everything. I don't think I ever looked on there since this happened. Honestly,
I remember I was heavy on it like when it first happened, but yeah, that was that, and this is one of the first times. This was a great show. There was little here and there aspects of it that just weren't hidden, but it was a really good show, and it's kind of doesn't matter anymore. After all the hype going into it, it just don't matter no more, and yeah, it's unfortunate. So
yeah.
But yeah, man, we're gonna get up out of here. If you made it this far, thank you. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and please hit like, hit the thumbs up, and subscribe, and watch it all the way to this point. Rewind it, let it play again. You know what I'm saying? Close out, let it play again all the way through. Open it up in incognito. Do what you got to do. We got to get the views up. You know what I'm saying? Plug your social.
Yes, y'all can find me at RickHavick24 on Instagram and on Twitter. You can check out the Havoc Hour. It's on ice right now, but plenty of content up on there, movies, TV, and sports. On all platforms, we find Young Kings Wrestling, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, and the video versions. The most entertaining versions is up on YouTube. New podcast pending at the buzzer for the semi-pro Lehigh Valley Legends of Basketball. Still more news to be coming up, but you can check it out when it comes. Also, Instagram page is up that I continue to update on the Havoc Hour _. So you can check that out too.
And I am the thespian TC Fontaine. Follow me at tc.fontaine on Instagram. FOY.flits is my photography page on Instagram. And follow Young Kings Wrestling everywhere at YK Wrestling, YKWrestling.com. And subscribe to us on YouTube. And we're going to close it out, man. Appreciate you for watching. If you like this recap, let us know in the comments, man. You want to see more pay-per-view recaps such as this one. And when we'll review some WrestleManias. We'll review some Money in the Banks, possibly. Some Big Fours, some Backlashes. You want to review Backlash 2000? That was a great Backlash.
Hell yeah.
We got Backlash coming up next month. Bad Bunny hosting in Puerto Rico. So get that cracking, man. And there's some more YouTube content coming soon. Just be on the lookout for that. Subscribe, turn your notifications on. And we out of here. Gone.